All right, another spark and another build. The guild table is open. Today we're zooming in. We're moving from the blueprint of the world to the fine mechanics of a master at work. We are doing a deep dive, a technical deep dive, into one of the most elegant and skill-testing card types in the game.
That's right. We're moving past general strategy and focusing on the signature moves of the tool titans. If you've ever faced an opponent who pulled off a seemingly impossible turn, chaining together effects with flawless precision, chances are you've been on the receiving end of what we're discussing today. We're talking about the cards that separate a good play from a masterstroke. Today is all about cast cards.
But before that, let's recap on how to play tools and titans.
So how do you play tools and titans? Easy. Draw your cards, charge your energy, build your field, act with your powers, clash with your titans, end your turn. 6 steps, 1 epic battle. Now on to the cast cards.
Indeed. Their tagline says it all. Forge the moment. Refine the result. It just sounds like pure, unfiltered skill. It doesn't scream brute force, it whispers genius.
And that's exactly what they are. Cast cards are exclusive to Tool Titans. Think of them as power cards representing refined execution, technical finesse, or a perfectly sequenced combo. They are those one-time plays that can completely change the momentum of a match, turning a stable board into a checkmate situation.
It's a fascinating contrast, and it's fundamental to the game's design. The Rustborn have their Scorch cards, all about entropy, sabotage, and breaking things down. They are a hammer, smashing a system. But the Tool Titans, they use cast. It's synergy. It's mastery. It's the essential difference between creation and corrosion.
Precisely. These aren't just cards you play, they are engineered sequences. They're the masterful flourishes that elevate a Titan's trade from something purely functional into something truly divine. In gameplay terms, they act as a mid to late game enhancer, a synergy accelerator, or the final crucial link in a devastating combo chain.
So it's not about just playing a big, powerful unit. It's about building a perfect machine where every gear turns in harmony. A cast card is the final, satisfying click when everything falls into place.
Exactly. A cast card reflects a Titan's ability to forge perfection. It takes something you've already done, a tool you've used, a task you've completed, and refines or even duplicates it for incredible value. You might use one to chain abilities together, recast a powerful tool from your junkyard for one last use, or even manipulate the flow of your charge.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty mechanics. How do they actually work on the board?
All right, so you play them from your hand during your action phase. They almost always have a cost, and it's rarely simple. It might be a standard cost in charge tokens, but often it requires you to discard a specific card type. Or, more importantly, you need to meet a specific synergy condition on the board.
And that's the key, right? They aren't just fire and forget. You have to earn the right to play them. The board state itself has to be aligned for this moment of perfection to even be possible.
You have to earn it, and once you do, the card triggers a powerful, one-time effect. It might be repetition, letting you repeat a tool or task's effect. It could be amplification, boosting your Titan's combat power or your charge generation for a turn. Or it could be refinement, which is a personal favorite.
I like the sound of refinement. The notes here say it can alter an existing card in play to an upgraded form. That sounds incredibly strategic, like evolving your own technology mid-battle.
Oh, it is. And the last category is synchronization, which is as cool as it sounds. It lets you coordinate multiple card types, making them activate in a specific, powerful sequence. But remember, and this is the most important rule, cast cards are non-permanent. Once they resolve, with very few exceptions, they go straight to the junkyard.
So they're fleeting moments of brilliance. You get one shot. You have to know when to use them. Let's talk more about those conditions. What kind of triggers are we talking about?
The triggers are very specific and tied to your actions, forcing you to pilot your deck with intent. For instance, a cast card might require that you've already completed a task this turn, or that you've played 2 tool cards with the spark element in sequence.
Or even something like spending a certain amount of charge from a specific weave, or having a structure with no damage on it. It forces you to think 3, even 4 steps ahead, not just about what you want to do, but about the state you need to create to do it.
It really does. The designers broke them down into categories. You have Forge Repeat, which replays the last tool effect, simple but devastatingly effective with the right tool. Then you have things like Temporal Cast, which can delay an effect or store it until your next turn.
Whoa, wait. So you could set up a play this turn that only triggers at the start of your next turn? That is some next-level mind gaming. You're setting a trap that your opponent can see, but might not be able to stop.
It's a huge part of the strategy for control-style decks, and there's a crucial rule we have to mention again for emphasis. A deck can only include a maximum of 3 cast cards, and, to be crystal clear, only Tool Titan decks can play them. No Rustborn, no Minor Titans, no hybrids. This is their signature art form. Every Titan turn, draw, charge, building act, clash, end, 6 steps. Infinite ways to forge your victory.
So, with that limitation in mind, it's not just about what cast cards you include, but how they define your entire deck's philosophy. How do you choose the right 3 for your deck?
It all comes down to your deck's action curve and your win condition. Let's break it down by the main Titan archetypes. First, you have your aggro builds. Titans like Fusio or a combat-focused Valera. They want to end the game quickly.
So for them, a cast card isn't about long-term value. It's about tempo, a final push.
Exactly. They'll use casts that repeat tool effects for extra damage, or cards like Surge in Sync to get a sudden burst of combat power and push through a defender. It's used to shorten the clock and close out the game before the opponent can stabilize.
Okay, what about the other end of the spectrum? The methodical, control-style decks. Titans like Technius, or the Master of Tasks, Lakara.
For them, cast cards are the ultimate value engine. They aren't trying to win on turn 5. They're trying to win on turn 10 by having more resources, more options, and more control over the board. They'll use casts that duplicate task rewards, letting them draw more cards or generate more recurring charge. Or they'll use a temporal cast to ensure they have a powerful play ready for a future turn.
Then, you have the constructive archetype. The fortress builders, like Masonics. What do their moments of perfection look like?
Their casts are all about their structures. A cast card for Masonics might fully repair every structure on his board to full health, or instantly upgrade a defensive structure to its next level, making it nearly indestructible for a turn. It's about solidifying their foundation and making it unbreakable.
The core lesson here seems to be that cast cards don't win the game on their own. They are amplifiers. They take the momentum you're already building, whether it's aggressive, controlling, or defensive, and turn it into a masterstroke at the perfect moment.
That's the perfect way to put it. Now, like any powerful mechanic, they come with strengths, but also significant weaknesses that a good opponent can exploit.
Let's break that down. The primary strength is obviously their precision. They allow for very exact plays that can turn a good board state into a winning one. They give you incredible momentum control.
And zone utility. Some casts can affect zones that are normally hard to interact with, like the opponent's weave or even their hand. And from a narrative standpoint, they're just beautiful. Each cast card feels like a signature feat of engineering, perfectly capturing the spirit of the Titan using it.
But the weaknesses are just as important to understand. They are highly conditional. If you don't meet the specific trigger, that card is a dead card in your hand. It does nothing.
A very real risk, and they aren't reusable. Once it's played, it's gone, which means if you mistime it or your opponent outplays you and forces you to use it on a suboptimal target, you've wasted one of your deck's most powerful resources.
Which brings us to a key strategic point: countering the masterstroke. So these cards sound almost unbeatable if played right. How do you stop them?
It's not easy, but it's possible. The first way is hand disruption, cards that force your opponent to discard. If you can make them discard their cast card before they can set up the conditions to play it, you've dealt a major blow.
The second method would be resource denial. If their cast card costs 5 charge and you can keep them at 4, that card is staying in their hand.
But the most skillful way to counter a cast card is to break the synergy chain. If you know their cast requires a task to be completed, you use your resources to actively stop them from completing that task. You target the tool they need. You counter the ability that would fulfill the condition. You dismantle the machine before it can be perfected.
It becomes a game within the game. You're not just playing against their board. You're playing against their potential. You have to identify their win condition and surgically remove its foundation.
So let's put this all together with a more structured breakdown, going through the classic 5 W's and an H. Let's start with the WHO. Who are these cards really for?
As we've said, only Tool Titan decks. But even within that, they are a better fit for certain archetypes. Combo-focused Titans like Draftor or Voltra love them. Efficiency and control decks, piloted by Titans like Lacara and Technius, rely on them for value. From a designer's perspective, they're there to create a high-skill ceiling.
Next, what are they? In a nutshell, a one-time precision burst card. It represents a crafted, skillful maneuver. It's not a tool or a task itself, but a meta ability that refines or replicates them.
When is the ideal time to play them? Most often, mid to late game. That's when the board is developed enough to meet their activation conditions. You need a preceding action, enough charge, and the right sequencing to maximize the benefit. It's about patience.
And where do they operate? They're played from the hand, but they can touch any part of the board: the forge zone, the task line, your charge pool, even echo form management. And after they resolve, they go to the junkyard, a testament to their fleeting power.
Which brings us to the big one. Why are they so important? Why dedicate a whole card type to this idea?
Because they provide that next level of tactical variety. They are all about combo enhancement and sequencing mastery. But most importantly, they give the Tool Titans a clear mechanical identity that stands in stark contrast to the chaotic, disruptive Scorch cards of the Rustborn. It's philosophy expressed through gameplay, the disciplined process versus the single act of destruction.
Finally, how do they interact with the rest of the game? What are the best combos? They're best paired with things that manipulate charge tokens, cards that let you sequence tasks quickly, or loops involving echo form fades. It's all about creating a system where the cast card is the explosive, logical conclusion. Let's make this concrete. Can you walk us through some more of the examples from the files? Let's go deeper.
Absolutely. We mentioned Polish to perfection for aggro decks, but let's look at a control-oriented one for Technius. It's called Calculated Recursion. It's a temporal cast. To play it, you must have drawn 3 or more cards this turn.
Okay, so it rewards a deck that's already focused on card advantage. What's the payoff?
You choose a tool from your junkyard and place it on top of your deck. Then, at the start of your next turn, you draw a card. So you not only get back your best tool, you guarantee you draw it immediately, and you replace the card you would have drawn anyway. It's pure, beautiful efficiency. No loss of tempo.
That's incredible. It's not a flashy game-ending move, but it provides such immense value over the long term. Now, what about a constructive example for Masonics?
Let's look at Architect's Final Draft. It's a refined break type. The condition is that you must control 3 or more structures. The effect? You sacrifice one of your structures, and for the rest of the game, your Titan gains a passive ability based on the sacrificed structure.
Whoa, So you're permanently upgrading your Titan, you're absorbing your own creation.
Exactly. It's a huge late-game pivot. You turn your defensive board presence into a permanent offensive or defensive advantage on your main character. It's a high-risk, high-reward play that defines the Fortress playstyle.
Let's do one more, a really complex one. Cast forward memory for Lockera. Condition: a task was completed this turn. We know the effect. Replay the reward and copy the condition. Let's talk about the strategic implication.
The implication is that you can create a loop. If you have a task that says, play 2 tools, and you complete it, you can use cast forward memory to get the reward again and create another task that says, play 2 tools. For a deck built around that, you can chain tasks indefinitely as long as you have the resources, turning your entire turn into one long, value-generating sequence. It's the ultimate expression of her design philosophy.
These aren't just powerful plays. They are meticulous miracles, forged not in the fires of chaos, but in the disciplines of synergy, sequence, and purpose. They are a story told in a single, perfect moment.
In every match of Tools and Titans, your tradecraft unfolds in 6 simple moves: draw, charge, building, act, clash, end, simplicity for the novice,
Mastery for the Titan.